Hey everyone, Jared here with ToneandTighten.com, and this is going to be a 25-minute core workout to shrink your waist and tighten your abs. Now this is perfect for beginners. I'm also going to show you some intermediate and advanced options with each of these exercises. We're going to be doing 40-20 intervals, 40 seconds of work, 20 seconds of a low interval or recovery period. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll throw the clock up and we'll get started with an exercise that's called a bridge with a crossover crunch. And so for this, laying on your back with your knees bent, the bridge part comes where you lift your hips up off of the floor, and then the crossover crunch is you're going to reach both of your hands down towards one kneecap, then come back down, and then do another bridge, and then the hands go down towards the other kneecap. Now if you need a little bit higher intensity, what you're going to do is during the crunch portion of this, actually lift both of your feet up off of the ground. That's going to kick on the lower abs as your feet are no longer supported, as well as the upper abs as you're coming up into that crunch position. Okay, so there's our 40-second high interval period. Again, for each one of these exercises, I'm going to show you 20 seconds of a kind of a beginner version of the exercise, and then 20 seconds of a more advanced or intermediate version of the exercises, and then we'll do the 20-second low intensity period. Okay, so exercise number 2 is going to be a bird dog with an elbow touch. So you're going to get up on all fours, and then you'll see that I'm lifting my right leg and my left arm. I'm bringing my left elbow to my right knee and then coming back down. So now left leg, right arm, touch, elbow to your knee, and then back out to that full extended position. This is one of my favorite exercises for spine stability as you do the bird dog. When you kick on the elbow tap, it's a great way that we're going to kick on a lot of the core muscles in the front, the abdominal muscles. Now the higher intensity version of this is you're going to do not just one tap with the elbow, but about 3 to 5. And so the longer or the more elbow taps that you put in there, the longer you're up in that bird dog position, the harder you're working those muscles while you're up in that position. Okay, very good. So there's our 40-second higher intensity period. Again, whatever you can do. So just try to push yourself. Maybe you're doing kind of the beginner version. Maybe you're doing the advanced version. Whatever you can do for the 40 seconds, it's all up to you. It's all up to your ability. Our next one's going to be called a W leg lift. And so I'm on my back. My feet are together and my feet are straight up towards the ceiling. I'm going to come down and then I'm going to separate my legs and then I'm going to lift them back up towards the ceiling, then come back down, bring them back together, both legs go back up towards the ceiling. And so you can see kind of where the W gets its name, the W leg lift gets its name. Now the higher intensity version of this is to increase your speed. Increasing speed is just going to give you more reps per given unit of time. So in that 40-second time period, maybe at the slower speed you're getting 10 to 15 of these W leg lifts in. At the higher speed you're getting 20 to 25 reps of these in. Just a way that you can kind of kick it up and increase the intensity on there. Okay, very good. So there's our 40-second work period. Follow that up with our 20-second low intensity period or recovery period. I kind of use those 20 seconds to just get into the next position. So really there's not a ton of rest associated with this workout. The next one we're going to do are called swimmers. This is a great Pilates move. This is one that I recommend to low back pain patients all the time in my clinic. It's a great exercise just because we're using a ton of stabilization muscles here with this one, but not a lot of movement in the spine. I'm on my stomach with my arms extended overhead. I'm just lifting my right leg and my left arm at the same time. Now, if you need a little bit higher intensity version of this one, we're going to go for the full Superman. And how you do that is I'm still on my stomach, arms are still out over my head, but now rather than kind of reciprocal right arm, left leg, we're just lifting both the arms and both the legs up at the same time. What I tell people here is try to get your chest up off of the ground and then try to get both knees up off of the ground. And if you can do that, you're using a lot of glutes to do that, the hip extensors. You're using a lot of lower back muscles to stabilize your lower back, and then you're also using those same muscles to just lift yourself up off of the, to lift your chest up off of the floor. Okay, you guys are doing awesome. Next one we're going to get into is called a reclined row. And so I'm seated with my knees bent, leaning back slightly, and then just kind of mimicking a row motion. So arms go out straight in front of you, and then you're going to pull your elbows back behind you, really focusing on squeezing the shoulder blades together, trying to get those rhomboid muscles activated. The more you lean back, the more your abs are going to work. That was the lower intensity version of the exercise. The higher intensity version is to actually lift those heels up up off of the ground. And so now I'm kind of in this suspended reclined position. Again, eliminating the support underneath my heels is going to kick on the lower abs a little bit harder. It's those lower abs and hip flexors that have to work a little bit harder as you're up in that reclined position. Okay, so there's our 40-second interval there. Here's our 20-second break, and then we've got our next exercise is going to be a plank touchdown. So to do this one, you're going to get up into a tall plank position on your hands and on your toes, and then hold that position nice and strong as you slowly lower your knees down to the ground and then straighten them back out. So again, we're in that tall plank position. The touchdown comes as you lower both knees down towards the ground and just touch them to the ground and then straighten them back out. Planks are probably one of my favorite exercises for core stability. Oh, here you go. If you need a little bit higher intensity version of this, feel free to add the march. And so now my knees aren't coming down, rather alternating feet are lifting up off of the floor. But I was mentioning, so planks are one of my favorite exercises for core stability just because they work so many muscles in your abdomen and in your core. It's a really great exercise to activate that deepest layer of your core muscles, which is called your transverse abdominis. It's one that we often neglect, but it's one of the most important as far as core strength and spine stability are concerned. So I love doing planks. Well, I love recommending planks to other people for those things. All right, our next exercise is going to be called a modified flutter kick. I'm laying down on my back and then just taking turns alternating or raising alternating legs up off of the ground. Left leg, right leg. Anytime you're raising your legs up off of the ground like this, you have to use a lot of those lower abs to stabilize your spine and stabilize your pelvis so that your hip flexors can fire. So it's a kind of a passive way to work the lower abs, but a great way to do it also. If you need a little bit higher intensity exercise, we're going to get into the full flutter kick. So to do that, you'll see that now neither of my heels are touching down as I'm alternating raising left leg, right leg as they're kicked out straight. Again, probably one of my favorite lower ab exercises with that one. If you need a little bit added bonus with that, a little bit more higher intensity exercise, try to suck your spine or your belly button in towards your spine. Again, that's going to activate that deepest layer, that transverse abdominis, if you do that. All right, our last one, we've got some toe touch crunches. So on your back with both legs straight, your feet are extended straight up towards the ceiling, and then you're just going to lift your shoulder blades up off of the ground, kind of reaching towards your toes. Great exercise here, again, so the feet are up towards the floor. We're getting a ton of lower ab activation with that. The upper abs really kick on as you raise your shoulder blades up off of the ground in that crunch motion. Higher intensity here is just going to be kick the speed up a little bit higher. Again, we're getting in more reps per given unit of time, meaning that you're just going to do more reps in that 40-second high intensity interval period, which is over in 1 second. Very nice, you guys, very good. And so we've just kind of got our 20-second low intensity period here. I usually take this time to kind of stretch out a little bit, kind of do a little bit of a child's pose, just to kind of keep mobile, keep the blood flowing a little bit. And there's your 20-second low intensity interval. Hey, I've got great news, you guys. So that's our first round. We've done our first set. Go ahead and take a break. We'll take about 60 seconds to grab a drink of water, relax for just a second, come back here, and we'll jump right into our second set. All right, welcome back, and let's get going on our second set. Again, this is a 25-minute at-home workout that you can do to strengthen your core, tighten your waist up a little bit. Here we are, get going on our second set with this one. We're going to start with some of those bridges with the crossover crunches. And so again, laying on your back with your knees bent, the bridges is where your hips come up off of the ground. Focus on squeezing your glutes to do that. I want that butt activated as you raise your hips up off of the ground. And then the crossover crunch, again, comes from reaching both arms down towards first your left knee, then come down to another bridge, and then reach up and towards your right knee. Again, higher intensity here is we're going to lift the ankles, lift the feet up off of the ground during that crossover crunch portion of this. Now, straight crunches are okay. I don't mind a straight crunch. I do like the crossover crunch. I feel like we activate a little bit more of the obliques with that one, kind of make the exercise a little bit more effective as you alternate left, right on that one. Okay, very nice. So there's the 40-second high period. Here's the 20-second low period. We'll go ahead and use that time to get into the position for our next exercise, which is the bird dog with the elbow touch. And so here I am down on all fours in the bird dog position. We're going to go right leg, left arm extend, left elbow, right knee touch, and then back into that left arm, right leg extend again. And so we're going to go, so here we go. So extend up into the bird dog, touch elbow to your knee, and then extend out into the bird dog again. If you need a little bit higher intensity, we're going to take just the one tap up to 3 taps each time. So the elbow to the knee, tap that 3 times, and then return to that starting position and then repeat on the other side. This is, again, just one of my favorite exercises. I recommend this one a lot to low back pain patients as well. Just a great way to stabilize the spine as you're up on all fours and doing that bird dog position. Again, there's not a ton of motion in the spine, but all of those muscles are activated in and around it. And so it's just a great exercise for that. Okay, next we're going to do those W leg lifts. So on your back with your knees straight, feet together, drop both feet down towards the ground, separate the feet, and then raise them back up towards the ceiling, and then just reverse that process on the way down. So feet together, separate the feet, feet up towards the ceiling, and then back down, feet together, and then back up is what the W leg lifts look like. Now again, this is a great exercise to activate those lower ab muscles. Anything you're doing where you're activating the hip flexors, where you're lifting the straight legs up towards the ceiling, is a great way to activate those lowest of your abdominal muscles, the lower part of that rectus abdominis, the six-pack muscle in the front that most of us are after. Higher intensity is, again, just increasing speed on that. Try to push yourself. Try to get in as many reps as you can. You know, it's all up to you. You're going at your own speed. If you can only do 5 of those, that's great. If you can get in 35 of those during that same amount of time, you're awesome. So just trying to push yourself, just trying to maybe do a little bit better than you did last time. Okay, so here we go. Our next exercise is going to be the swimmer. So you're down on your stomach with your arms extended overhead. Alternate lifting left leg, right arm, and then right arm, left leg up off of the ground. So it looks just like that. Again, a great way to activate those lower back muscles. Also very safe and protected position for your spine to be in. Okay, if you need a little bit higher intensity version of this, go ahead and go into the full Superman position. So again, both arms overhead. The object here is I want to lift both arms, even your chest, up off of the ground, and then lift both legs up off of the ground. I tell people to at least get your knees up off of the ground. Some people will cheat and just kind of do it with their feet. Their knees will stay in contact with the ground, and they'll just kind of bend their legs to lift their toes up off the ground. Not quite what I'm after. So try to get your chest and your knees up off of the ground if you elect to do that full Superman position. Okay, so our next one's going to be our reclined rows, and so again, I'm seated here, knees are bent, feet are on the ground, and then I'm leaning back and performing this rowing motion with my arms. Okay, and so the core is really active here. Basically, the further you lean back, the more those abs are active, the more the core is going to be activated with that. If you need a little bit higher intensity version of this exercise, pick your feet up off of the ground and then perform those same rows. And so again, the more that you lean back, the more active those abdominal muscles are going to be that we're trying to target with this exercise. Okay, looking good. Only 3 seconds left. 2 and 1. And so there's our 40-second work interval. We're going to follow that up with our 20-second rest interval. Again, I kind of use this time to get into the position for my next exercise. Kind of keeps it a little more active throughout the whole 8 minutes that we're going to be doing these exercises, throughout the whole 8-minute set here. Our next one's going to be our plank touchdown. So up in that tall plank position, keep your abs nice and tight, keep your core nice and tight, suck your stomach in towards your spine, and then what you're going to do is drop both knees down towards the mat, down towards the floor, whatever you might find yourself on, and then straighten those knees back out. So again, planks are just a great way to activate all those core layers. Adding that little touchdown in there just kind of makes it a little bit more of a dynamic exercise. If you do need something a little higher intensity, I like these marches. It's a great way that we can kick on some glutes and kick on some lower back muscles as we're doing the plank, as we're working those abdominal muscles. So kind of, maximize maximizes the contractions here. Again, this workout, it's pretty quick. It's only 25 minutes long, and so we want to do what we can to really maximize our time and to really just kind of work as many different muscle groups as we can in and around the core. All right, our next one's going to be the modified flutter kicks. Laying on your back with your legs out straight. First, you're going to raise your right leg up off the ground, and then your left leg up off of the ground. Now, again, this is kind of the beginner version of these flutter kicks. You should be able to do these, and so keep your back nice and tight. Try to keep your back actually in contact with the ground. I don't want your spine to round out too much. That's going to it's going to basically put your core in a better position, activate your ab muscles a little bit more effectively with that. If you do need a little bit higher intensity, the flutter kick is the full flutter kick is the way to go. And so now you'll see that I'm not actually touching my ankles down to the floor between each rep. Again, try to keep your back nice and flat on that. It's going to have a tendency to kind of curve up. Use your ab muscles to kind of pull in and to not allow that to happen. All right, so here's our 20-second low intensity period. We got 10 seconds left on this one, and then we'll get into our last exercise is going to be the toe touch crunch. We're just about done with our second set, you guys. Stay strong. I know you can do it. So feet go straight up towards the ceiling, arms extend towards your feet, and then you're just going to perform the crunch motion. When I tell people to do crunches, I just want your shoulder blades to come up off of the ground. The crunch is a great way to activate those upper abs, and so the upper part of that rectus abdominis muscle that's going to basically fold you forward, crunch you towards your feet. If we raise our feet up towards the ceiling, again, that's a great way to activate the lower part of the rectus, or those kind of tough to reach lower abs. Higher intensity version of this is that you're just going to try to get in more reps, and so just try to get more touches in, kick the speed up, and there's your 40-second high intensity period. We'll follow that up with just our 20-second lower intensity interval, and then I've got great news, you guys. We were done with our second set of this core workout. You guys are doing great. So take another quick break, take 60 seconds, grab some water, take a quick rest, and then meet me back here and we'll shred our way through our third and final set. All right, here we go. Welcome back to our third and final set in this 25-minute core workout you can do at home. Let's go ahead and we'll get started. We got 8 minutes left. I know you guys are feeling it. I know I'm certainly feeling it at this point. Let's go ahead and see if we can finish strong. Our first one is again going to be the bridges with the cross crunch here. And so come up into the bridge and then both hands reach towards your left knee. Come up into the bridge, both hands reach towards your right knee. Great exercise to kind of get the reciprocal. We've got the glutes and the lower back going on the bridge, and then we've got the front of the abs going on the front of the core, the abdominal muscles going on the cross crunch. Again, higher intensity is going to be, I want you to pick your feet up for the cross crunch portion of this. So focus on squeezing your glutes together to raise your hips up during the bridge. Focus on squeezing your abs as you're kind of bringing your both hands towards alternating left knee, right knee. Again, by adding the cross crunch and not just a straight crunch, we're actually kicking on a lot of the obliques with that motion. Okay, so here's our 20-second rest period, or our 20-second low interval period. We use that to get into the position for our next exercise, which is going to be the bird dog with the elbow touch. So here I am on this rep. I'll extend your left arm and your right leg, touch your left elbow to your right knee, and then extend left arm, right leg again. And then you're going to repeat that same process with the right arm and the left leg. So extend, tap, and extend. If you need a little bit higher intensity version of this, you take just the one tap up to 3. So now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, knee to elbow taps with the higher intensity version of this. Another great kind of reciprocal muscle activation going on with this one. We've got a lot of lower back extensors going on as you raise out into that extended position with the arm over your head and the leg back behind you. But then you kick on a lot of the flexors as you bring your elbow and your knee together. So back extensors and then the trunk flexors or the ab muscles with that one. It's a great exercise. Okay, here we go. Moving on to the next one is going to be our W leg lifts, laying on your back with both feet together and straight up towards the ceiling. Drop both feet down, separate your feet, and then raise them back up towards the ceiling. Again, one of the cues that I like to give on this one is try to keep that lower back flat. As your legs are moving around like this, your lower back's going to have a tendency to kind of want to round, basically to come up off of the floor or up off of the mat. Try not to let it do that. Try to use, again, that deepest layer of your core muscles to keep your back nice and flat, nice and tight down against the surface, whatever it is that you're laying on throughout these W leg lifts. And so if you need the higher intensity version of this, again, just kick your speed up to the next level. Try to push yourself on this one. Maybe you went at a decent pace for your first set. Maybe you increase that a little on your second. This is our third and final set. So I want you to try to push yourself. I want you to try to do as much as you can on all of these that I'm showing you. Okay, our next exercise is going to start up in 3, 2, 1. It's going to be the swimmers. And so you're going to lay on your stomach, extend your right arm with your left leg, extend your left arm with your right leg, and then just repeat that process. I try to challenge people, if you need a little bit more of a challenge on this one, try to suck your belly button up off of the floor. I know that's really hard and you might not be able to do that, but even to kind of have that picture in your head of sucking your stomach in is going to activate that deepest layer, that transverse abdominis muscle, important in kind of shaping and sculpting that waistline, keeping everything sucked in nice and tight. Our higher intensity version of this exercise is going to be the full Superman. And so again, the goal there is to lift your chest and both kneecaps up off of the ground at the same time. Okay, very nice. So there's our 40-second high period. Here's our 20-second low intensity interval period. And then the next one that we're going to get into are going to be those reclined rows. I've got great news. We're halfway done. Again, this is our third set. We got this. And so seated position with the knees bent, recline at the hips, kind of leaning back, and then you're going to perform this rowing motion. And so again, the emphasis here is to squeeze your shoulder blades together. More so than that, I want you to try to keep your abs nice and tight, that stomach nice and active as you're doing these reclined rows. If you need the higher intensity version of this, lifting your feet up off of the ground is going to be the way to go. Again, that's going to activate that lower level of your abs, kind of the lower rectus abdominis is what we're activating with that one. All right, and so there is our 40-second high period. We've got to follow that up with our 20-second low period. Use that time to kind of get into this next position. Maybe you stretch it out for a second. The next exercise that we're going to get into is going to be our plank touchdowns. And so again, we're up in that tall plank position. I'm on my hands and on my toes, holding that plank position, but then we're going to drop down onto our knees. And so both knees drop down towards the mat, and then they straighten right back out. And so it looks just like that. Again, planks are one of my favorite at activating our transverse abdominis muscle, that deepest layer that's going to keep everything sucked in nice and tight. It's also a great way to activate a lot of the other stabilizer muscles as well, obliques, and then you've got one in your back called the quadratus lumborum. There's going to be a quiz on these later. And so it's a great way to just activate all of those. Kicking on the plank with a march is a way that we kick that into kind of the higher gear, into the next level, by actually adding those hip extensor muscles while your back and while your abs and core are holding things nice and stable. Okay, you guys, only 2 more. You guys are doing great. Okay, our next one's going to be the modified flutter kick. We'll get that started in about 5 seconds. Laying on your back, again, your stomach's nice and tight, your back is in contact with the floor, and then you're just going to alternate lifting left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg. Again, you'll see that the beginner version of this is that that my heels actually come in contact with the ground. So there's my left leg lift, and then all the way down, right leg lift, and then all the way down. The higher intensity version of this is we're actually just going to alternate without touching my heels down to the ground. So left leg, right leg, left leg, right leg starts coming up as the left leg starts coming down, and then vice versa. Again, trying to keep my back in contact with the ground with this is going to activate that lower ab layer, that lower layer of our rectus abdominis group. Okay, very nice, you guys. Hey, I've got great news. We've only got one exercise left. Here's our 20-second low intensity period, and then we're going to follow that up with just one more 40-second higher intensity period of our toe touch crunches. Laying on your back with your knees straight up towards the ceiling, reach hands towards your toes, and then you're just going to lift the shoulder blades up off of the ground. And so again, we're activating a lot of the upper rectus with the toe touch portion of this, with the crunch portion of this. We're activating a lot of the lower rectus abdominis as the legs are extended up towards the ceiling. And again, try to push yourself just as hard as you can. I know this might be kind of a difficult position to get into, but I know that you can do it. So if you do need something a little bit higher intensity on this, again, just pick up the speed. Just do it a little bit more. You're going to get in more reps, and guess what? There it is in 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Okay, hey, we've finished this workout, so there's our 40-second high-intensity period. We're just going to follow that up with a 20-second rest, kind of active recovery period, and you guys just shredded your way through this. Alright, so that's it, you guys, and so I hope that you liked this workout. I know I enjoyed putting it together for you. If you did, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up. That really means a lot to me. This is also a great opportunity to subscribe to Tone and Tighten if you haven't done so yet. It's just a way that you can ensure that you never miss a workout in the future from me. And so until next time, keep working at it, and we'll see you right here back on Tone and Tighten.